this, knew that. It's like, so thank you for bearing with us.
Okay, we're ready to go. Welcome, everybody. I'll let Judy sit down. Thank you. I had the pleasure of serving on the search team for our youth director. And I am a big believer in the power of prayer. You pray for the right person to come, the right match, and that's, in my opinion, the most important thing you do as we're praying for the right transitional pastor, the right next pastor. It's a big part of it. So our prayers were answered. The first interview we did with Breighton, we knew immediately what a good person he was and how much we liked him and connected. And I learned right then, the very first time, his name rhymes with the number 8. You hear about a lot of Breightons and all that, and it's confusing, but I just remembered it rhymes with 8. So very excited to have him on staff, and very excited to get to know him a little better, hear a little more of his background today. And he's doing great things. Glad to have a few of you younger members here, so you can call him out if you need to and let him, keep him on task here. But I'm turning it over to Breighton Larson. Thank you so much.
All right, hello everybody. So I am blessed to be here today, and I was able to have some of our youth come join us too, to be able to come and just spend some time intergenerationally, be able to be together. So today, as the title would suggest, I was going to be talking about our different service projects that we're doing, and as I was looking at our group, and just this last week also made me realize it, just how much of a community we have and how much that service and love for each other has really shows God's love through the community. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. But first, I will introduce myself a little bit more. And she actually already talked a little bit about how to pronounce my name. I was going to tell people how to do that, because I know there's still a divide. People still come up and ask me, is it Breighton? Sometimes not here, but I've gotten Brandon and Braxton before. I don't know how you do that, but I have gotten those. So, in case you're still wondering and being confused, my name is pronounced Breighton. Sounds like an 8. Sounds like it's spelled with an A-Y, so that's how you do it. So, I always see that people start these things off by talking a little bit about themselves. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, and I have you guys in here for a little bit, so I get to do that. So starting off, this is my family. So little me, you could probably, I think you can guess which one I am. Which one do you think I am? The one in the back on the right. That's me. You could probably tell. I haven't changed too much other than the facial hair, probably. But this is my dad, Bob, and my mom, Tammy. My little brother sitting down in the middle, almost cut off at the bottom. That's Devin. And then Andy is sitting right beside me. I'm directly in the middle, so I'm the middle child. And so, grew up in Oregon, but I was born up in Washington, but I didn't really I don't remember any of that because I was only a little baby, and we moved as soon as my little brother was born. We just left Washington, moved down to Oregon where all my mom's family was, and then we kind of just moved around the area. So if you want to know more about Oregon, I can tell you all about it. I know everything, especially up in the northern area of Oregon. Lived over in Portland, over in Gresham, Salem, small towns you've never heard of like Malala. Love Oregon, such a beautiful place, and I feel so blessed to have been able to grow up there. But then we moved to a small town called Malala, which is just like, I don't even know how to describe where it is to people who don't know what Oregon looks like, but it's just off in its own little area. It's been growing lately, but when I was there, it was a really small town. And I was only there for maybe 2 years before I started college. and I decided to go down to join one of my best friend now, who I only kind of knew at the time. We ended up going to a place called Corbin together, Corbin University, and we already had a friend who was going there, and so she gave us so many like highlights of it and told us all about how awesome it was, and so we went there, and it was an awesome opportunity, especially to have a friend coming in by my side to be able to go through it together, and we had the whole experience where I got my bachelor's in Christian ministry with a minor in biblical studies, which they did technically require me to do, but I still wanted to do it anyway because I liked it. But it was a great opportunity to learn more about my faith because I was actually still relatively new to my own faith at the time. At the time, I had only been, I'd say I was only a Christian for maybe like 3-4 years at that point. And so I was still relatively new. I grew up in a Christian household. All of my family were Christians at the time. But I didn't really believe it all. I was kind of just dragged to church. Didn't let them know that. They thought I liked church. I was good at faking it. But I didn't really like being there. And I realized as I was looking at our conversation about our youth group is that it also, like the kind of community we have is the reason that I ended up coming to Christ. I had a similar experience as the group we have back in Oregon, where the church that I went to, the youth group was so community oriented that as soon as I walked in the door, everyone recognized I was new. Guy came up to me named Jordan. He introduced himself and was like, "Hey, come sit with us, come be with us, come be our friend." And rest is kind of history from there. And that was the youth group I actually wanted to go back to and was kind of prepared for. So when the youth pastor there retired, I was in the middle of working towards my master's, which I actually never got. But I ended up going back there because they offered me the position to kind of be like to kind of take over while they were in a weird transition because it was kind of sudden. And then I was there for about a year, but I didn't have the best experience. So I left, and I actually didn't plan on going back into youth ministry. I planned on just going and trying something new. So I moved to Colorado, started work at Habitat for Humanity, worked there for about a year, where turns out I would meet Abby. She's right over there too, so you can see her. And while we were there, we met, and we both were only there for like temporary reasons. So she was going to school for her master's. I was going because I was just going to work for about a year at Habitat trying to figure life out. And we ended up growing really close, and we both moved back to our homes. And as we were looking to see what we would do, Abby got a job out here, and I was just working at like FedEx, so I was like, guess I'm moving over here. And so I did. And now that's where we find ourselves today. I am here with you guys, and I feel really blessed with this opportunity, and I have been inspired back into youth ministry through some of the work in Colorado. Some of the kids there really inspired me to that was where I belonged and where I should go. And that's what I think is wonderful about working with youth is they inspire you. Like they really do. And I didn't feel like it was really for me anymore. And then these two kids, they weren't even Christians, but I would talk to them every single day at work, and like they would come and I would take them under my wing and train them how to do stuff that I barely knew how to do in the first place. And we became really good friends, and they inspired me that it was like, that is where God wants me. And so it gave me new inspiration to come back into working in youth ministry, and I am not regretting it at all. I'm absolutely loving it. So thank you for giving me that opportunity. So that's probably enough about me, but As I was looking at churches, I did have several offers come in that people offered me positions at different churches here. And the thing that stood out about this church was the community. And I came in August, I think, to do, like, I was a guest speaker at youth group. I immediately felt welcomed, and also came in to Sunday, and everyone was welcoming and saying hello and just being community. And that is what I love about this place. And I felt so at home, and I felt like everyone was treating me as if I'd already been here before. And it was a wonderful experience. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Is I feel like our group that we have is really good at cultivating that relationship of community and showing the community to other people through the service that we do. So we do a lot of various things. We've done several different big service projects come along, and so I'm just going to throw up a couple pictures of our group just because I need to have some kind of background image. But I know that there's been several opportunities, and one of the first things was on the right. The reason I chose that one was because that was actually one of the first big events that I really had a hand in planning. We did a Friendsgiving around Thanksgiving, and it was such a fun experience. We had like everyone there, and it was great. But what I want to move on to now is talking about the stuff that we do and why I feel like it's so important. So as humans, I think we can all agree that we kind of crave human interaction. Like, we crave interaction with each other and community and friendship. We all need that. And it's one thing that I saw while I was looking, like trying to figure out what I wanted to say, was I found this this article that talked about the importance of community based, like, just scientifically. Like, even scientifically, it proves like that there's a need for it, where you're 3 times less likely to die if you have community. Like, that is already kind of just a crazy thought. You also have an enhanced mood, which lowers your blood pressure, and it, like, that reduces your risk of illness and death, and just by being around people who care, which is crazy to me to think about. It's like that. It doesn't just matter on. It matters spiritually, but it also matters just physically as people. Like, we need that. It's something that God designed us for, and that we desire. And I think we all can think about that we all have different relationships, and we have people that we care about, and we all need that. And it means a lot when we do something that drives community. So I'm going to read a verse from Ecclesiastes that I feel like also shows from a scriptural standpoint kind of what I'm talking about. So, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up the other. But woe to one who is alone and falls, and does not have another to help. Again, if 2 lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though one might prevail against another, 2 will withstand one. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. And I think we've all probably, I forgot that I didn't have it all on one slide, so I'm sorry about that. But I think we've all probably heard that verse before. But I think it's important to read when we talk about community, because we can think about how alone, like, we're easily broken. Like, we can easily fall into temptation, easily do things we aren't supposed to, and easily just get into our own heads. But when you have people around you who can strengthen you and just better you, it's something that we need. And that's what our group is about. It's about strengthening each other. So, what have we been doing to strengthen this bond? So, I'm going to talk about a couple big events that we've had this year that I really think shine through and show our love for the church community and the community that we have. So something that we did that a lot of you may or may not have heard about, I'm not sure, some of you probably have, we did something called Faith Connection Nights. So we did that back, we did one kind of semi-recently where we did write cards, but we did mostly things that we had gone out twice. One time before I was even here, but the other time we did go out and around Thanksgiving and gave out poinsettias and went to visit people who were either mostly people who weren't able to come visit church, but there were also people who we visited who were, and it was a great opportunity. So these are just some of the pictures from the various nights, and it was a great experience. I know some of you took part in it too. Some of you are even pictured up there. Some of you came with us, came alongside us, and drove the students where they needed to go and came to have experience with the people we went to visit. And it was a great experience from what I've heard from everybody that went and people who they visited. I've heard amazing things, that it meant a lot. So I have heard from some of the students that they absolutely loved the experience and they would love to do it again, which we actually are planning this again. I'm talking with Jana and we're trying to find a time to be able to go and do this again. But so it will be coming up, so don't worry about that. But I know that I heard several different stories about what they did that night. So some people said that they were just asking and talking to the people about advice and stuff in their lives and being able to get some experience. Some people baked cookies and then they ate them and had some delicious food. Or I feel like the best story that was kind of just unexpected was they said that they were talking about menstruation, and I was like, what? That's crazy. I was like, I wonder how that came up, but it was a great night for everybody. There was hilarious moments and people were talking and people grew close together to the point that I heard that we had several students go up and ask for help getting some extra cards delivered that they had made because they had such great experiences and wanted to continue to build a relationship with these people. And I thought that was so amazing that we had this opportunity to be able to grow intergenerationally with people, that we had our students, we had people coming in who could drive them around, and we had people we were able to go to and just spend the evening with, talking about whatever from any kind of subject, which was a great experience. And I know that everyone had a great time. And I've heard from also the people we visited that they want to be visited again. So everyone loved it. And from hearing how everybody wanted it, everyone loved that, is just knowing, we all want that community. People who are outside of the church that went to go visit, they want community with us. Even though maybe they're not able to come because something physically, they still want that community. And it's important that we can share that. And our youth do an amazing job sharing that. So another big project we did, which I thought was a lot of fun, in February, we had several weeks where we kind of talked about service, and then we, each life groups or small groups were able to plan something themselves and then go do it. So each group did something different, and it was fun hearing what their ideas were and being able to watch as they did it. So the middle school boys, they decided to make cookies. And after they made the cookies, they wanted to write testimonies. As you can see, one of our students, Pierce, doing. He's thinking about what to write. I actually may or may not have told him to look like he's thinking hard, and then I took the picture. But they were they made these cookies, we bagged them, they put testimonies and stapled them to them, but we ran out of time. because their ultimate goal is what they wanted to do was take these cookies and walk around the neighborhood and give out the cookies to the neighbors without any expectation of getting anything back. It was just go give them the cookies. And so on that coming Sunday, we actually ended up as all the people who showed up, we all went out and walked the neighborhoods and gave out the cookies. And I know that there was some nervousness from being able to go up and just share with people, but it was fun watching as everybody kind of broke out and started to want to share and be the next one to go up to the door and try to give people cookies. And the reaction, that most people would have is just, do you raising money? That was the main thing. And we'd be like, no, we're just giving cookies out. And we'd get the weird looks on their faces, and maybe some of those cookies just went straight into the trash after we gave them to them. But I know that some of them definitely had just a wonderful experience opening that door and hearing some kids just come in from a church to give them some treats. And I know one of the highlights from our group was we actually ran into a house church that meets right down the street, and we didn't know about it, just a couple blocks over. And I don't know about you guys, but I didn't know that there's a house church meeting right by us. So we had a great experience with that. And the middle school girls, they decided to make little encouragement. It had encouragement cards on the hearts. Some of you guys might remember this because they did give them out to you guys in the pews. So they had little hearts with little words of encouragement and baked cookies as well, and then put them in bags and put them up in the pews for everyone to get on Ash Wednesday. Oh, not on Ash Wednesday. That actually happened the week before that. And then they volunteered to usher on Ash Wednesday as well. And so they had we had a huge group of ushers on Ash Wednesday, which was great. We had a little line going where you could shake hands with everybody and then walk in, and then a bunch of people giving out their cards. And I know I heard a lot of good things about this too, and Pat recognized it that week as well, telling everyone to say thank you and holding it up. I know some of the youth said they didn't like being recognized by getting told oh, everyone clap for them, but I think it was a great experience. And the high schoolers, so we don't have too many high school girls, so we meet as a full high school group. So what they did, this is them going shopping. They went shopping. But what they did was since they had a week, they went and raised money first throughout the week, and one of our leaders donated money as well for whatever the deficit would be. And they went and bought a bunch of food for, I believe it was the same thing that the elementary school kids were doing, foster something, I can't remember the name. Yeah, the foster care program, it was the visitation place, so they were making snacks, little trying to get a bunch of snacks so they could have a bunch of treats at their location. And so they went and bought a bunch of stuff with this money that they raised over the course of just 1 week. And then they went over with our wonderful Peaceworks and helped with blanket ties and cutting the blankets, which I know that they all had a great time doing. And it was a great little partnership because they immediately after getting back dropped all the snacks off and then rushed to go do the Peaceworks because I saw them get back and I was like, oh, how did it go? And they're like, it went good. And then they're all just charging past me don't talk to us, we're busy. And so they get back there and they start doing all of that. And so what I loved about seeing all this is their ideas. This wasn't me telling them what to do. This was their ideas of how they were going to serve, and they put it into action, and they did it and everyone had a great time doing it. They care enough about the community that they want to serve people and do things for people, and I loved seeing that. So I think it really showed to me how much amazing heart love and care they have for the church and for other people, because they've recognized the needs and they helped. Like the boys recognized that the neighborhood, we have a bunch of people that we don't see and we don't talk to, and they recognized that that was a need and went out and did it. The girls recognized that the church sometimes needs encouragement too. Like the church needs some like uplifting things, and so being able to go do that. And they also recognized that we needed ushers for Ash Wednesday, so they came and did that. And then the high schoolers recognized that the people in the foster care program, like just getting some treats is like would feel like a high for them. And they recognized that people like over at Peaceworks, like there's a lot to do over there, and like that stuff takes a long time, but that they can go over and help with that and helps get some stuff done. And so I'm going to read a verse from Hebrews 10. It says, "And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." So that's Hebrews 10, 24 through 25. And there's another verse that I've been thinking about a lot leading up to this, because it tells us that, you know, to be able to meet together, not neglecting just being together, but then also to encourage and love one another, which is exactly what I see every week. I see that every single week that we're there at youth group, I see that they're coming, that they're not neglecting to, you know, not be together, but then they're also stirring up love and good works in one another. And that's what these service projects that we've done has done for us. It is them encouraging each other to go do these good works. And I think it's a really beautiful thing to see, that there's enough love to push out and do this for the community. But I also want to share about how they show love to one another. Like they show love to the community and they show love to the church, but I also see things at the youth group that really stand out to me, that they show love for one another. So there was several weeks ago, this like moment always stands out to me. I was dropping in with the middle school boys, hanging out in their group, and we got into the conversation of what sticks out, like what has stuck out to you in your life that somebody has done for you that has really influenced you. And it wasn't specifically saying like you have to say something about somebody else in this group. It was just, what's a moment that really affected you? And one of the students, he immediately says that one of the other students comes up to him every week, gives him a fist bump and asks him how his day is. And that influences his life really heavily. It's just being seen and being heard, like being known. Like he's coming up to him and being like, "Hey, how's your day?" And being able to have that every single week has been something that he said is very influential to him. And then that kid who he just said this other good thing about goes on to say a good thing about another one of our students and says that he gets bullied at school sometimes. And one of the other students, he comes and protects him. Like he comes over and he'll defend him. He's way bigger than our other student. They're like, you know, very mismatched. And he comes over and protects him and keeps him safe and helps just bring him in to his group, and he does that for him. And those moments really stand out to me, that it's like, I didn't ask them to be like, "Hey, tell me what these other, like everyone else in the group is doing for you." Like this was something that stood out to them as this influences my life. They did these things for each other because, like, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. They want to show love to each other, and those moments really stand out to me. And something else that I noticed was they want each other to be there. So when we see like when not neglecting to meet together, I was sitting with the high schoolers, and they noticed that there's this one student who hadn't been here for a couple weeks, and they're all like, "Where is he? Like, why is he not here?" And so they all just anyone who didn't have his phone number either. They just gave phone number to everybody, and they all started texting him like, come to youth group, come to youth group, come to youth group. We miss you. Get over here. Like, where are you? And so they want each other to be there. And like, that's another thing is like, none of the leaders told them to do it. They just wanted that student there. They wanted him there. And I think I keep seeing stuff like that, and it's amazing to me. And in this last week also kind of stood out to me because we had a guest speaker come in, and we kind of had a weird amount of time at the end where we went a little long, but we didn't really have that much time left. And so like I was trying to come up with something to do, but immediately everyone's just like, we gotta do small groups, we have to do it. And so I was like, yeah, okay, we'll do small groups. Everyone can still do small groups. We only had like 10 minutes left, but everyone wanted to be in their groups and go talk about each other's weeks. And that also just lit a little smile on my face, because it was like, yeah, they want to be together, and they want to talk, and they just want to talk about their days. And I think that all of these things show a great example of community to us as adults too. Like they are reflecting God's love through their community. And it's an amazing thing to see, and I love watching it. They welcome everybody with open arms. They want everybody to be there. They don't like to see people missing. And even if one of the leaders is gone, I get like the students coming up to me like, oh, like, where are they at? What's going on? And even if they're gone just 1 week, if they're gone for 2, then it's like, oh, everyone's going to be complaining about them being gone. So seeing how much they just welcome everybody. It also makes me think about this verse in Galatians that says, For in Christ Jesus you are all children of God through faith. As many of you as were baptized into Christ have clothed yourselves with Christ. There is no longer Jew or Gentile. There is no longer free or slave. There is no longer male and female, for all of you are one in Christ Jesus. And I think that the community that they have shows that message. They don't care about any of the other background. Like, everyone comes from different things. Like, we have so many different people come from various sports, various schools. We have a lot of schools represented. Everyone comes together, or homeschooled. So there's a lot of schools represented. There's a lot of different backgrounds represented. Everybody still just sees each other as a community and friends. And yeah, so they also, another amazing thing to me that we had was, so this last week, the guest speaker we had was from Collision. I don't know how many people know what that is, but it's a ministry organization in town that's about sharing your faith, going into your schools and sharing your faith. And he was able to come in and talk about it, and he was talking about how, like afterwards and during, he also said that he loved the group, but afterwards he told me that he felt so welcomed just immediately, that he was able to just go join a few of the students in a game of basketball, and like he was able to come up, and he felt like they were just so welcoming to him, and he thought that was an amazing thing. And the students want to share their faith as well, because we're going to have the opportunity to be able to learn about sharing our faith these next few weeks with, because we're partnering with Collision with a little program after youth group that we're going to talk a bit about sharing our faith. And we had about 90% of the people who were there wanted to go to that after youth group, which was really cool. I was expecting maybe get like 5 people who wanted to do it, and we got I think it was 15 or 16 that said they wanted to come. So that was really cool, and that shows to me that they want to share their faith with people in their schools and people in their lives. They don't want to just hold it to themselves. They want to go out and they want to share it. And I feel like this community is such a blessing, and I feel so blessed to be able to be a part of it. And I know that we would love to have more people coming in to come join us as well. Like, we had the opportunity to have the pastor nominating committee actually came in and went around to our groups, a couple members from that, and asked the students, like, what are they looking for in a pastor? And one of the things that stood out to me that I was told that they said, it wasn't even specifically about looking for a pastor, but it came up because of the conversations, that they want mentors to come back. They want people to come in and people that they could share and talk with and be able to one-on-one have like a mentorship with. And we don't have enough leaders to like make that a super like viable thing right now because we don't have enough people for that. But I would love to get something like that started, but we need more people. And that's something that they're looking for, that they want. They want partnership with the rest of the church to come in and be mentors. Like something like that, I'm still looking through what it would look like, but it's something that stuck with me after I heard that that's what they wanted. And I want to give them the opportunity to be able to do something like that. That doesn't mean like, it has to be like you're there every single Wednesday or something. It would be something, be able to have conversation with a member of the congregation who can give them advice and like share their faith and like talk about, just walk them through what life is, walk them through life. But that's something that I've been thinking about a lot and just wanted to be able to talk about that. But also, we are looking for more people to come in because we've had a couple weeks where we've had a lot of leaders who maybe can't make it for a week, and then we don't have a lot of leaders at our youth group, and so when people are missing, it becomes very noticeable, the gaps. And so I'm inviting, because I have you guys here now to come visit. We only have 3 youth groups left this year. So we have summer programming coming up, but it's a really cool opportunity to come and see what we do and see if it might be something you might want to do next year. Or even just finish out the year, or come visit on an event in the summer. Come see. It doesn't have to be a commitment. We would love to have you come in and just see what we're doing. So if any of these sound good to you, next week we're going to be doing a bunch of we got a couple service projects planned and volleyball, so that's going to be cool. The week after is going to be a night of testimony from one of our leaders, which is going to be amazing to hear. And the last week is going to be a big end of year party. So you're invited to all of those. And even if it doesn't look like that, what I want to invite you to do too is just be there for our youth. Just be there. And be willing to talk to them and bring them into the community that we have, because I know that sometimes it can feel like the groups kind of get a little segregated a little bit. And so one of the goals that Pat talked to me about when I first started here was to try to get more connection intergenerationally, and that's what we're seeking to do. But we can't do that as just the youth. Like, we also need you to partner with us. And there's many ways to do that. It doesn't have to look like a commitment every week. It doesn't have to look like that. Maybe your gift is speaking. We look for guest speakers all the time, and we'd love to hear from people. We'd love to hear your story, like how you came to Christ, and we are big fans of testimony. So if that is something like that sounds like something you could do, you can come talk to me. We also have several of you in here have come and cooked for us, and we love that. So you can always feel free to come do that too. Maybe on Sundays you might like to come join us over in our faith and fellowship class. That's another option as well. But all that to say that we'd just love to have more connections. And I think that's the greatest way to see the community continue to grow, is to be able to grow intergenerationally across any lines of age and like. One of the things that I do know is that for our youth, age of people who comes doesn't matter. Like if that's something that holds you back, like it doesn't matter. Some of the best experiences I have, even growing up, are with some of the older leaders at my youth group. I remember one of our guys who used to come all the time, he was one of our cooks, and then he'd come hang out with us afterwards. And everyone wanted him to sit at our table. We'd always try to get him to come sit with us so we could talk to him. And he was in his late 70s, and he was the most popular person there. Everyone wanted to be around him. And I still remember him with amazing thoughts. And I just want to encourage you that doesn't matter if that's what's holding you back. But there's so many gifts that everybody has. Everyone has different gifts, and any one of those we could use it. And we need partnerships. So. So I want to end it with a challenge for you guys. I want, and for the youth in here as well, I want you to remember to be the connection that you want to see. So if you want to see people be connected and grow together, you have to be that. And you should be the one pushing forward and pushing towards that goal. And it can look like even just growing in continual community here too. Like, I think that seeing how the students treat each other and what they do for each other is a good representation of what you can see over here as well. They are a reflection of God's love through their community, and I really love being able to be a part of that. So let me say, I think we get questions next. I'm making sure I know how this works.
Who's got a question? We usually have a lot of questions, so
Oh, wow.
who's going
I answered
to have
everything.
the first one? I had one, and now I can't remember what it was, so I have to think a minute.
Give you some time to ponder.
Exactly.
I was wondering, do the youth group meet at the same time as the adult education classes? Is it after church? Okay.
Yeah, so it is at the same time. Unfortunately, for people who want to be able to make it to this as well. So
Yeah, okay. That was my question. And then your contact information is in the directory so that if people want to drop you a text, do you prefer texting or an email or?
you can do either one. If you want to catch me on the weekend, texting me would be better. If you want to catch me like during the work week, I'll probably answer your email. So,
Okay.
But either one works. So,
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
So I've been feeling guilty that I haven't offered to cook. What do you guys like to eat? What's a good Wednesday night meal? I see a smile. Are you going to give me a suggestion? No.
what's the best meal we've had this year?
Oh, walking tacos. Okay, that's easy. Good to know.
We do have a couple people who made those in here right now. So,
I would like to cook. How many kids are there usually there?
so it depends on what the time of year. From what I've noticed, it definitely we popped up a lot over the New Year and the winter time, and then because summer and everyone's on trips, we've kind of gone down a little bit. So it can be anywhere from around 20, and the most that we had was 35. So there's a pretty big. I know there's a pretty big range.
I can just testify. They will eat. Because I had 7 pounds of grass-fed beef anyway.
We have a lot of athletes that need food. They come after practice, so.
All
other question. You mentioned you have small groups within the youth group. How does that work? How do you do that?
Yeah, so usually the way that we do that is we have our worship time, which Ben leads, which is really cool that he comes and joins us. And then we have like usually a message time, and then we break into our life groups for the end of group for around like 45 minutes. We usually get a good designated time, and so the middle school boys have their own room, middle school girls have their own room, and then as of right now, I think after this next year, we got quite a few people going up, so they might split again with the high schoolers back to 2 groups. But right now, because we only have like 2 high school girls who show up, we have them meet together over in another room. But we have another designated room. So we have 4 rooms that we use, so that each group gets their own room, and they get to talk. Usually, I'll give them some discussion questions that they may or may not use. It just helps if they don't know what to talk about. But I know a lot of the groups kind of just go and talk about what stood out to them, and then talk about their highs and lows, and gets like, conversation about getting to know each other. And
I was wondering, Breighton, if you have any mission trips planned for the future.
I want to do that, but I don't think it's going to be this year. Not this year, but I'm hoping. I'm not making like any promises. I want to try to get something going next year, because I know it takes a lot of time to plan, but I'm hoping to get something going. So I want to.
And if you're not going on a trip, there are plenty of mission opportunities here in the city. I would hope that we would be looking at some of those.
Yeah, something that I have been thinking about is I know we've done mission stays in the past, which might be something better logistically as of right now, because don't have as much time to get like a huge plan going for like a massive out of like state trip or something. So I've been considering the idea of doing like a stay where we can come together and then go and do some projects, which I think would be really cool. So that's what we're looking at right now.
I would encourage you to have the Church on the Street opportunity, either on a Saturday worship or laundry. It would be a great experience of service, as well as just being able to understand what's happening in our community.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, you got Carolee and me down for a meal. Do you need any of that during the summer?
Summertime, probably not.
Okay.
But I could see.
Okay.
We might go to we might go to eat something. Right. But yeah, so we'll have like a bunch. Our summer programming will look way different. We'll get different plans and fun activities and service opportunities, and it'll be. I think I got some fun ideas that I'm trying to figure out. But
good. So stay tuned, everybody, and we will learn what's going on. And I love the idea that we're connecting the generations. Excellent. Gives us energy.
And let me just pray us out real quick. I'll hang out for a little bit if anyone wants to come talk or have any more questions that you just wanted to come over and talk to me about. So, God, we thank you for this time that we get to spend together. And I thank you for the community that you've made here at First Presbyterian. It's amazing what we can see happen through these groups, and I'm just so thankful that we get to be a part of this. God, let us go out and this week and let us be community to the neighborhood, to our neighborhoods, to the church, and just to everybody around us. And I just pray that everybody got something out of this today, that they can think about something and grow closer to you. And in your name we pray. Amen.
Me too.